Today, I want to help you set your money goals for 2024 and actually achieve them. Around this time is when we all start reflecting on what we've achieved this past year and what we really need to focus on moving forward. And as you look back on 2023, is there anything you wish you would have accomplished? Are there goals you set out to achieve but you didn't? Or maybe you have regrets about not investing. Let's change that today and map out your success for 2024. You can't change your financial history, but in this episode, we're going to set your money goals for next year so you can change your financial story. I'm your host, Alexandra Gonzalez-Ganoza, and this is where your financial freedom starts. I always start my year with a list of goals I want to reach for the year, and clearly writing out your money goals helps you build daily habits that direct you towards the life you envision. They help you make the choices that match your goals, like reaching financial independence, buying a home, or starting that business you've been wanting to start. Setting clear and realistic money goals will then help you turn them into real doable milestones. Without setting these goals, it'll just be a road trip filled with unnecessary detours and it'll lead you towards an unwanted destination. These money goals can't just be a list you write out. They need to be the driving force behind every single financial decision you make. So you can make choices and decisions that align with your aspirations. Before we get into the specifics on how to achieve your goals, I want to share with you guys the goals that I personally set out to achieve and some goals, if you're a beginner, that are a good place to start. First, one thing I did to accelerate my own path with my finances was to create a second stream of income. The extra income let me start investing, and I was able to buy my first asset. For others, it might help you get out of maybe the bad debt that you got into. And once you get out of that, you can get into some good debt. In today's world, there are so many opportunities like starting an online YouTube channel, selling baked goods, becoming a door dasher, starting an online agency, or even coaching online, selling clothes, things that you don't want anymore, blogging. I mean, the list goes on, and virtually anything is possible. And you never know, maybe one of those things that you came up with ends up sticking and starts to become a stable source of passive income, just like it did for me. No matter your skill level, generating extra income is achievable for absolutely everyone. The next goal I'm going to share, I learned from Robert and Kim Kiyosaki. It's the pay yourself first rule. By paying yourself first, you make sure that a portion of your income is allocated towards your financial goals and future needs. Put aside a set percentage from each paycheck or payment you receive from a client or from the other sources that you receive money from, and then deposit that money into an investment savings account. Once your money goes into that account, you never, ever, ever take it out until you're absolutely ready to invest it. And this actually might clear up some of the confusion for some of you guys when you hear Kiyosaki say savers are losers. And that's because you're not supposed to save for your retirement, but instead you're supposed to save to invest. So your investments can then, in the future, fund your retirement. You can take this one step further and implement Robert and Kim's 3 piggy bank rule. One piggy bank is for your savings, one is for investing, and the other one is for charity. Something really important to note here is that it's not the percentage or the dollar amount you commit to that's most important. You could choose to start with only, 2%. That's, something minimal, but what's important is creating the habit of putting this money aside every single month. For those of you that have developed bad financial habits, that have gone into debt, this is a way to create discipline with your numbers. To pay off your debts and build your financial future, you need to create new habits that support you in doing so, that support your new financial goals. And this is honestly just one idea that you can do. One other goal that I add to my list every year is investing in my financial education. It's one of my favorite investment categories. I set aside a budget and prioritize what kind of education I invest in. And it can range from attending seminars, which I love, conferences because you get to meet people, you get to network and connect, and that's where I see my money get the most bang for its buck. Or you can take online courses, hire a mentor, or buy books. I always want to be learning. And so I invest in that so that then I'm prepared to invest in the real deal when the opportunity comes along. Financial education is not just about acquiring theoretical knowledge, but it's also about gaining a deeper understanding of how money works. It's about developing the mindset and skills needed to make smart financial decisions. And when you do, that wires your brain to look at everything as either an opportunity or a liability. By investing in your financial education, you're going to gain the confidence to navigate the world of personal finance. You'll have the knowledge to increase your income, protect your assets, make informed investment decisions, and create sustainable wealth. If you're a beginner, a good place to start is the Manage Your Money course that Rich Dad created. I'm going to leave the link for you guys to the course in the description. And this will honestly help you if you're setting big attainable goals for yourself for 2024. For 2024, I hope you plan on saving so you can invest. Or if you've spent the last couple of years saving, I hope you reach your goal this year of finally buying your first investment property. One of the key principles emphasized in financial education is the importance of building your asset column. This means focusing on acquiring income generating assets that have the potential to appreciate in value. Focus on assets, building your assets, growing your assets. And 5 years from now, you're going to be so happy you listened to this podcast and that you started today. By building your asset column, you're creating a solid foundation for your financial future. This lets you generate passive income, which is crucial for achieving financial independence. So stop putting off your dreams and make 2024 the year you start achieving them. So now let's get into how to actually achieve your goals. For many people, I know setting goals can be dreading or tedious. And I think that's because a lot of people are actually scared to face their own reality, right? Where they are currently might scare them. But once you give yourself a reality check, you're going to realize that there's really simple steps you can take that take you from where you are today to where you want to be. And if you take the time to do it right, the growth you see in your life will be enough motivation to keep doing it and loving it. There's also another group of people that will set goals, but then fail to achieve them. We all know that one person in our life that says, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and then they never do it, right? And in order to avoid this or to avoid becoming this person, you need to set yourself up for success by making sure that your goals are SMART. So, what does SMART stand for? It stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. When it comes to goal setting, this is what exactly it means, right? The first S, specific, means avoid vague goals by answering the W questions about your goal. Who will do it? What specifically will be done? When will it be done by? And where will you focus? And why is the goal important? Let's start with the first criteria every goal needs to have, right? It needs to be very specific. And this is the who, what, when, where, and why of your goal. Once you answer these questions, your goal is going to start to have a skeleton and some substance to it. The second component is that the goal needs to be measurable. M means measurable, right? You need to include specific criteria so you can measure your progress and know when you have actually achieved your goal or how close you are to it. Ask yourself questions like how much or how many? Like how much cash flow or passive income do I need? How many investment properties do I want? The third component is that the goal needs to be A, attainable and accountable. This piece is really important, especially the accountability part, at least for me. You want to have other people hold you accountable. When you have someone who keeps you accountable, you actually do it. For example, I meet with my mentor every month. When we meet, we talk about the things that we discussed the last month. Another thing that holds me accountable that you guys can implement is that I have a mastermind with my family, right? And we meet every month. We talk about our problems, what areas we're trying to grow in, our successes, our failures. And then in the next meeting, we talk about how we fix those problems, what we're doing today and what we did the day before that to get closer to solving this problem. And this is really important when you want to force yourself to meet your personal goals. You always have to create like your own stressful situations, right? And your own deadlines. So you actually take the necessary steps towards your end goal. The fourth component is that the goal needs to be realistic. This is important as well because a lot of times people go crazy with their goals. And then when they don't reach them, it affects their self esteem and then makes the smaller goals seem unattainable, right? So ask yourself, is this something I want to do? Can it be done? Many people make big goals, ginormous goals, and what they actually need to do is break them down into smaller goals. That way you can actually achieve them. Even though your overall goal might be something really, really big, what you want to do is break it down into smaller pieces so that you get a sense of accomplishment as you complete those goals. When you have a goal that's too big, your brain can't comprehend that it's actually possible to achieve, which makes it even harder to accomplish anything, which then leads to frustration and discouragement. Trust me, I've been there, and you don't need that, nor does that serve you. The fifth and final component is that the goal needs to have a timeline. This is an interesting one because a lot of people actually don't have this or implement it. An example of a timeline would be I'm going to accomplish XYZ in 30 days. It's important to keep track of your goals or else you won't get anything done. I use my Google Calendar and I mark my deadlines in red, right? It's been said that a goal without a timeline is just a wish. So without a timeline, you really don't have a goal. Make sure to put a timestamp on each thing you want to accomplish, and you'll set yourself up for success. Remember, if you start working on your goal and discover that any part of your SMART, SMART criteria is either too easy or too difficult, you can modify that part of your goal. Just make sure you keep challenging yourself, but don't discourage yourself either. It's a fine line. When it comes to a new business venture, career opportunity, or getting into investing, people can all too easily get caught up in a cycle of analysis paralysis that leaves them too afraid to put one foot in front of the other. And even if they finally do, they're left constantly wondering, am I doing this right? Maybe, and maybe not. But there's nothing wrong with getting started with what you know right now. You have to start somewhere. Otherwise, you'll never get that practical hands-on experience you need to move from where you are to where you want to be. And guess what? It's okay to make mistakes. You will no matter what. And it's also okay to fail. And you might despite your best efforts. Actually, you not might, you will. But if you don't do anything, you're making an even bigger mistake than if you were to take action. So you pick, do you want a life filled with mistakes that keep you in your current reality? Or do you want to make the right kind of mistakes that propel you towards the future of the life you actually want to live? It's all about failing forward. You know enough right now to take one step forward in your quest for financial freedom in 2024. Once you take one step, take another and another. And soon you'll be walking, then running, and that's how you end up on the right path, by goal setting and taking action. I can't wait to hear what goals you guys have achieved next year. And I want you guys to tell me in the comments what goals you're going to set yourself up for. And as we approach the end of the year, I want to thank you all for tuning into every podcast, for continuing your journey of personal development, for working hard towards your financial goals and towards your financial freedom. Because people like you make this world so much better. Your actions inspire others. Your education teaches other people. And all of you have been my accountability partners. And I want to thank you for that. You've kept me growing and learning. And thank you so much for being a part of my 2023. And I can't wait to see what 2024 has in store for us.
This podcast is a presentation of Rich Dad Media Network.